was the idol of a generation until this very moment that changed everything forever.
Welcome to Eternal Moments. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start.
In 1948, a girl with a vacant stare drew her home on a chalkboard, unaware that this image would become a symbol of war trauma. For nearly 70 years, no one knew who she was, until history caught up with her. Teresa Adventowska, a girl from Warsaw, scarred by horror. Her drawing, simple yet heartbreaking, reflected all she had lost. Today, her image continues to speak to us of the invisible cost of war. This rare photograph from the 1860s shows William Quantrill, the feared Confederate guerrilla leader whose shadow loomed over the American Civil War. He was responsible for the brutal Lawrence Massacre, where more than 150 men and boys were mercilessly murdered. Fighting among his ranks was a young Jesse James, who would later become the most famous outlaw in the West. This image captures the face of the man who inspired legends and terrors. This heartbreaking photograph shows David Kirby dying in Ohio as his father holds him for the last time. Published in Life magazine in 1990, the image broke the silence surrounding AIDS and gave a human face to an epidemic marked by fear and prejudice. Captured by Therese Frere, it became a symbol of compassion and truth. More than a photograph, it is a cry of love amidst tragedy. In 1954, a simple lost and found room in a Paris police station became a silent portrait of the city. Umbrellas, suitcases, hats, and forgotten souvenirs are piled up like fragments of thousands of anonymous lives. Each object holds a story, a farewell, or a moment of carelessness in the Parisian hustle and bustle. It is the hidden Paris, the Paris of things that no one claimed, but that still speak of the city's soul. In 1960, photographer Ormond Gigli gathered 43 elegantly dressed women and placed them in the windows of a New York building about to be demolished. The image, titled "Girls in the Windows," captured ephemeral beauty in the face of imminent destruction. It was taken in a single day, with the city roaring in the background. Today, it remains an icon of art, fashion, and nostalgia for a New York that no longer exists. Taken in 1854 during an Arctic expedition, this image shows the Inuit facing the ice with dignity and ancestral strength. It was one of the first times the Western world saw their faces, their clothing, and their frozen environment. More than a photograph, it is a testament to survival and wisdom in one of the harshest places on the planet. In their eyes lies the story of a people who learned to live with the eternal cold. Known as the Lost German Girl, this photograph captures a young refugee in Czechoslovakia shortly after the end of World War II. Her face, marked by blows and exhaustion, reflects the fall of the Third Reich and the suffering of thousands of displaced civilians. No one knows her name, only her gaze lost amidst ruins and vengeance. It is the silent echo of a war that did not end when the guns fell silent. In this mirror self-portrait appears Vivian Mayer, the mysterious nanny who, unknowingly, would become one of the most fascinating photographers of the 20th century. Captured in Chicago, her figure is reflected with discretion and enigma, as if she already sensed her hidden destiny. During her lifetime, no one recognized her talent. Only decades later did her film reveal a world of urban poetry. Here, the lens gazes at her, and she gazes at herself without witnesses. In 1885, this enigmatic man known as Leatherman tirelessly traveled a 365-mile circuit between Connecticut and New York, always dressed in a full, handmade leather suit. No one knew his name or his story, but everyone remembered him for his silence and kindness. He slept in caves, ate whatever he could find, and never asked for anything. His solitary figure became a living legend of the Northeast, the ghost of the highways. Among the forgotten negatives of an anonymous photographer, this image of Timothy Leary, the psychedelic guru who invited the world to turn on, tune in, and drop out, surfaced. Captured in San Francisco between 1966 and 1970, the photo breathes the rebellious spirit of the counterculture. With his intense gaze and enigmatic smile, Leary symbolizes an era that dreamed of expanding the mind and challenging the system. It is a lost portrait of the man who wanted to reprogram human consciousness. In this charming scene from the 1920s, a couple poses proudly next to their gleaming automobile, a symbol of progress and modern freedom. Beside them, a badminton net suggests a day of leisure and elegance in the heart of the Jazz Age. Their smiles and style reflect the optimism of a generation that believed anything was possible. It is a window into a time when love, speed, and fun went hand in hand.
This is the last known photograph of Adolf Hitler, taken in 1945 as he surveys the ruins of Berlin. His empire was crumbling, and silence replaced the speeches that had once ignited millions. With an aged face and a vacant stare, he resembles a ghost observing the end he himself brought about. It is the final image of a dictator defeated by his own ambition and destruction. In 1990, during the invasion of Kuwait, an Iraqi soldier poses in front of an imposing portrait of Saddam Hussein, the ultimate symbol of power and fear. The scene blends pride, obedience, and tension, reflecting the cult of personality that dominated Iraq in those years. Behind the uniform, one senses the weight of a war that would change the destiny of the Middle East, an image frozen in the instant before disaster. On June 6, 1944, Life magazine photographer Robert Capa landed alongside the soldiers on Omaha Beach, camera in hand and under enemy fire. Of the more than 100 negatives he took, only 11 survived, blurred but laden with history. This image, now colorized, captures the chaos, courage, and fear of D-Day. It is a fragment of hell transformed into art, a testament to the moment the world changed its destiny. Taken in 1916, this aerial view shows the devastated battlefield of Verdun, one of the most brutal engagements of the First World War. What were once hills and forests were transformed into a lunar landscape, scarred by craters and death. On the right bank of the Meuse River, thousands of soldiers fell without advancing an inch. From the sky, the photo reveals the true face of war, wounded earth and eternal silence. This rare color image shows the legendary amber room of the Russian Tsar, taken in 1943 before it disappeared forever. Covered in gold paneling and precious resin, it was considered the eighth wonder of the world. During the Nazi occupation, it was looted and sent to Königsberg, and then vanished without a trace. Destroyed or hidden? Even today, its whereabouts remain one of art's greatest mysteries. This enigmatic photograph features Wallace Fard Muhammad, the man who founded the Nation of Islam in 1930 and then disappeared without a trace. His past is a mystery. No one knows where he came from or who he really was. In just 4 years, he ignited a spiritual and social movement that would mark African American history. His disappearance in 1934 transformed him into a myth, half prophet, half ghost. These 5 forgotten photos show different angles of the moment Dorothea Lange immortalized the migrant mother in 1936. In them, we see not only Florence Owens Thompson, but also the raw dignity of a mother who lost everything during the Great Depression. Each shot reveals a different detail: the weariness, the hope, the silence. These are fragments of the most powerful portrait of American suffering and resilience. On May 29, 1953, Edmund Hillary took this historic photograph of Tenzing Norgay atop Mount Everest, the highest point on Earth. It was the moment when man conquered the impossible, facing the cold, the altitude, and death. With the flag waving and the entire world below, the image symbolizes the triumph of the human spirit, a moment of glory frozen on the roof of the world. On August 14, 1945, in Times Square, a sailor kissed a nurse in an explosion of joy upon learning that the war was over. Captured by Victor Jorgensen, kissing the war goodbye became the symbol of the end of World War II. That spontaneous kiss represented relief, hope, and a new era beginning. 70 years later, it remains the image of life's triumph over war. In 1948, a poster shocked the United States. 4 children for sale, inquire within. In front of a house in Chicago, a desperate mother offered her children for sale because the family was facing eviction and the father had lost his job. The photo, published in the Vedette Messenger, revealed the misery hidden behind the American dream. Decades later, it still hurts to look at those innocent eyes that hunger and despair put up for sale. On October 24, 1946, American scientists attached a camera to a captured German V-2 rocket and launched it into space, not knowing if the experiment would survive. When the film was recovered, it revealed something never before seen, the first photograph of Earth from space. In black and white, it showed our planet curving through clouds and emptiness, a historic moment born of ingenuity and a little bit of luck.
In July 1975, this image captured the majestic Edmund Fitzgerald sailing the Great Lakes, unaware that it would be one of his last voyages. In the foreground, the Heritage sailboat seems oblivious to the impending doom. Just a few months later, the Fitzgerald would sink in a ferocious storm, taking its entire crew with it. This photo became a silent harbinger of one of America's most famous maritime tragedies. In 1978, Marine World Africa USA in Redwood City was a haven of aquatic shows and exotic safaris where dolphins, orcas, and lions shared the spotlight. It was one of America's most unique parks, a blend of zoo and marine circus. Over time, debt and urban sprawl forced it to relocate and be reborn under a different name. Today, only photos and memories remain of that wild dream on the shores of California Bay. In May 1968, near Cuchi, an American soldier took love to the front lines. His helmet was covered with photos of his girlfriend. Amid the chaos of Vietnam, those small images were his refuge, his reason to endure. Every glance from her through the paper seemed to remind him that there was a world waiting for him back home. A tender display of humanity in one of the most desolate places on the planet. In May 1915, during the bloody Gallipoli campaign, the 4th New Zealand Howitzer Battery opened fire from the arid hills against the Ottoman forces. The roar of the cannons mingled with the smell of gunpowder and the stifling heat. Those young soldiers, far from home, wrote a bitter page of history with every shot. This photo captures the exact moment when courage and tragedy merged in a single battle. In this curious image from the 1930s, the legendary comedian Harold Lloyd, or someone incredibly similar, is suspended in mid-air, dressed in a New York City Air Police uniform. Known for his impossible stunts and daredevil humor, Lloyd turned vertigo into spectacle. The photo blends comedy and risk, evoking his silent film classics. Whether it's him or not, it perfectly embodies the bold and playful spirit of an era that dreamed of flying. On February 20th, 1939, more than 20,000 Americans gathered at Madison Square Garden in New York City under swastika flags and portraits of George Washington. That rally, almost erased from collective memory, celebrated the rise of Nazism on American soil. As the world teetered on the brink of war, speakers talked of patriotism and white pride. Today, this haunting photo serves as a reminder of how close hatred came to wearing stars and stripes. This rare photograph from the 1950s shows a young Quezon Phomvihan, the
communist leader who would later found the Lao People's Democratic Republic. Of humble origins and with an iron will, he was a key figure in the anti-colonial struggle and the Indochina War. Although his name has almost faded from memory outside his country, his legacy shaped Laos's political course for decades. Here his serene gaze foreshadowed the revolution that was to come. In 1912, in a still largely rural France, this scene depicts a public washhouse where women of all ages gathered to scrub clothes, chat, and share confidences. More than just a workplace, it was a social hub, the everyday heart of the villages. Amid laughter, gossip, and the sound of running water, stories were woven that time has forgotten. A window into simple life before modernity reached every home. In April 1945, a young Stanley Kubrick captured this powerful image of a dejected reporter following the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The photo, published in Look magazine, showed the human impact of a nation in mourning. That moment of sadness and loneliness marked the beginning of the future filmmaker's brilliant career. In the reporter's eyes is reflected not only the end of an era, but the birth of a genius behind the camera. In this rare photograph from the 1913, Helen Keller appears with her eyes wide open, displaying a serenity that contrasts with her silent struggle. Deaf and blind since childhood, she became a global symbol of perseverance and education. Her expression reflects the intelligence and inner strength that led her to defy all limitations. A seldom seen image of a woman who learned to listen to the world without hearing it and to see it without seeing it. In this candid photo from around 1990, a Russian soldier sticks his tongue out at the camera, breaking the rigidity of his uniform for a fleeting moment. His mischievous gesture humanizes a generation raised amidst discipline and change, just as the Soviet Union was crumbling. Between irony and rebellion, he seems to say, "We are still human." A small spark of humor in the midst of a gray era that was about to end.
Taken between 1880 and 1900, this endearing family photograph captures a time when posing was almost a ritual. The serious faces reflect the solemnity of the moment, except for that of a little girl with tousled hair and a look of annoyance who steals the show. Her spontaneous expression breaks the Victorian rigidity and adds life to the portrait. More than a century later, she remains the rebellious soul of an image destined for perfection. In Vienna in 1947, a distraught mother shows her son's photograph to a group of prisoners of war returning from the front. Captured by Ernst Haas, the image encapsulates the anguish and hope of the post-war era. Each face tells a story of loss and searching amidst ruins. It is a moment suspended between tragedy and faith, where a simple photograph becomes the last thread that binds a family together. In February 1943, after the catastrophic defeat at Stalingrad, Joseph Goebbels rallied thousands of Berliners at a rally that went down in history as the Total War Speech. In this photograph, the fervent crowd responds to his call to mobilize all of German society to continue the war. The flags, the shouts, and the fervor mask the fear of imminent collapse. It is the image of a regime that, even in defeat, still pretended to believe in victory. On December 24, 1990, in Moscow's Red Square, a group of Soviet mothers broke the regime's silence by holding up photos of their sons who had fallen in the army. The state militia tried to restrain them, but their grief was stronger than their fear. That scene, which took place shortly before the collapse of the USSR, symbolized the end of an era, the awakening of a people who were beginning to defy censorship. Their tears were the prelude to a new Russia. Taken on February 5, 1865 by Alexander Gardner, this is the last official photograph of Abraham Lincoln. Just 2 months before his assassination, the president appears weary, the weight of the Civil War etched on his face. Yet his gaze retains an almost prophetic serenity, as if he sensed the end. It is the silent farewell of a leader who sustained a fractured nation with his humanity and conviction. Taken on June 8, 1994, this is the last known photograph of Nicole Brown Simpson alive, just days before her tragic murder that shocked the world. In the image, she appears calm, unaware of the fate that awaited her.
Shortly afterward, her death would unleash one of the most publicized trials in modern history. This photograph remains a haunting reminder of the calm before a storm that would forever change American culture. In February 1959, this photo shows the 9 Russian hikers from the Dyatlov Pass incident, smiling and unaware of the mystery that would soon engulf them. Days later, they were found dead in the snow of the Ural Mountains, with unexplained injuries and no clear indication of what had happened. Their tents were ripped open from the inside, and their bodies lay scattered in the extreme cold. More than a century later, the case remains one of the most unsettling enigmas of modern history. Taken sometime in the 19th century, this is the oldest known photograph of the Taj Mahal, capturing the monument before its modern restoration. Through the grain and the dim light, the majesty of the mausoleum that symbolizes eternal love still shines through. Without tourists or manicured gardens, the temple seems frozen in time. It is a unique glimpse of the original Taj, silent and sacred, as seen by the century that had just discovered photography. In February 1975, this photo shows the 7 astronauts aboard the Space Shuttle Challenger, smiling and full of excitement shortly before the 1986 launch. Among them was Krista McAuliffe, the first civilian teacher sent into space. 73 seconds after liftoff, the Challenger exploded before millions of viewers. This image is etched in the collective memory as a symbol of human courage and the high price of progress.
In this heartbreaking 1999 image, a father walks through the devastated fields of Kosovo, searching for his 2 sons, who disappeared during the war. His face reflects the mixture of hope and despair that marked thousands of families in that conflict. Amid ruins and silence, he clings to the faith of finding them, even though the world has already given them up for lost. It is one of those photos that encapsulates an entire war in a single glance, that of a father who refuses to give up. Taken in Crete around 1952 by photographer Voula Papaioannou, this colorized image shows an old man and a child sharing a moment of calm after years of war and poverty. Their faces, separated by generations, reflect the hardship and hope of the Greek people. The old man embodies the wisdom of one who has seen it all, the child, the promise of a different future. A simple photograph, yet brimming with humanity and timeless tenderness. Leningrad, 1989. A group of young Soviet sailors respectfully salute a medal-covered war veteran in a scene reflecting a new generation's homage to those who defended their homeland. The contrast between youth and old age symbolizes the continuity of sacrifice and memory in a solemn moment at the end of the Soviet era. In 1958, Marilyn Monroe posed as Theda Bara for Richard Avedon, paying tribute to the legendary silent film star. The image blends glamour, mystery, and a nod to Hollywood's golden age. Monroe, ever charismatic, embodies both her own legend and Bara's. It is a portrait that plays with the history of cinema and the enduring fascination with her iconic presence. Taken in 1860, this photograph shows Rome with the Colosseum, the Matus Sudans, and the Arch of Constantine in a historical moment before the city's modernization. The ancient ruins seem to dominate a still silent landscape, untouched by today's tourist bustle. Every stone speaks of past empires and the grandeur that has survived the test of time. It is a window into the heart of Rome, as seen in the 19th century. This photograph captures the tragic accident in which James Dean lost his life, a moment that abruptly halted the life of the young film star. His iconic image of rebellion and youth is frozen in the collective memory. The wrecked car and the silence of the scene contrast sharply with the fame and energy he exuded. It is a somber reminder of the price of risk and the fleeting nature of life.